In 1973, British-American scientist Cohen and Boyer succeeded in creating a new fusion of DNA by introducing the genes of staph into E. coli. A study on the GM began from the 1980s. It is GMO technology that artificially combines genes that are not originally in plant genes and develops new varieties with new characteristics. GMO technology is largely based on the bacterium, amphiotic cell method, particle total method, etc. Let's find out about the most representative agrobacterium. The agrobacterium method cuts the tDNA region of the agrobacterium and separates it and combines it with a new useful gene. It infects plant cells with agrobacterium. Cultivation and selection processes produce new seeds with useful genes. In 1994, a farmer got angry. The hard-earned tomatoes are gone and we can't eat them. A scientist is thinking about a solution to the short storage period of tomatoes. This is when I come up with a good idea. Agrobacterium is given a new ability to store tomatoes for a long time. Then, the infected tomato cells are cultured, developed, and then grown. Unlike traditional seeds, tomatoes are formed that have a thick skin and can be stored for a long time. This is a new breed of player saver from Calgene Incorporated. Because more consumers are looking for safe food due to controversy over MSG and food additives, they fail in marketing due to negative perception of genetic modification. Sales begin in earnest after passing FDA and EU safety checks. Since 1987, the U.S. Department of Agriculture has also introduced corn, beans, potatoes, pumpkins, wheat, etc. in 1994 after FDA approval. A British scientist's experiment in June 1998 sent shockwaves through fear. In snowdrop, a type of anemone, the lectin of a pest-resistant plant that is harmless to humans is transplanted into the potato and tested for the finished GM potatoes. Dr. Pexels is experimenting with feeding genetically modified potatoes to mice. As a result, it is announced that there are side effects such as growth disorders, immune disorders, gastrointestinal functions, and GM foods can be harmful to the human body. Dr. Pexels' lab results announced that there was a problem. In June 1999, the Royal Society of England announced that the research process had been at fault. 22 scientists from 13 countries reproduced the experiment and support it. It's empowering the anti-GMO supporters. But it didn't get support from many scientists, and the GM potatoes and pastéis problem were not commercialized. GM soybeans accounted for 6% of the market in 1996. Exports of GMO imports to the world have begun to increase rapidly. Exports of GMO imports to the world have begun to increase rapidly. The controversy over glyphosate begins with GM bean, which has herbicide resistance. Glyphosate finds live bacteria in a pool of sprayed areas. It's GM bean and Monsanto that combines the herbicide resistance gene of this bacterium with soybeans. There are benefits of wheat, but when the wheat grow, they absorb the nutrients they need to absorb and become a shelter for insects and insects, so the production of the beans decreases. I can manage it manually, but it's inefficient. The alternative is GM bean, which is resistant to herbicides. But the herbicide-resistant soybeans survive, and all the plants around them are devastated. In 2011, the International Agency for Research on Cancer named Glyphosate as a carcinogen. Monsanto protested and took legal action, but he was unable to break the IARC's will. It was officially announced by WHO in March 2015. Since then, the controversy over glyphosate has accelerated and become a global issue. When glyphosate is sprayed, it is naturally decomposed from the soil. But GM crops are unique, so it is a problem to spread them over crops. The glyphosate that is sprayed on it is combined with plant cells and is not removed by washing it in water. The first problem with glyphosate is the creation effect. In fact, there are some parts that are right and some are wrong. Mineral deficiency is not true. The glyphosate, which functions as a herbicide by collapsing the plant's sticky pathways, said that humans have no problem because they don't have sticky mate pathways. But we find that there are sticky mate pathway in people. Because of glyphosate, it is impossible for long-range fungi to produce folic acid, dopamine, serotonin, and tyrosine. In fact, after the introduction of GMO, the incidence of autism, dementia, and depression has increased. Another feature of GM crops is the pesticide effect. It's a GMO technology that combines the pesticide-activated gene of Bacillus thuringiensis with plant genes to make it resistant to insects on the crop itself. There's going to be a debate about whether or not it's deadly to humans. Bt protein produced by Bt, however, is activated in the river alkali digestive tract of vermin and penetrates the digestive tract to disrupt and destroy the immune system. Humans and animals cannot act as toxins because their intestines are mostly made of acid. We've been working on this part, and now science has shown us that it's safe. Wouldn't my genes change if I ate foods that had altered gene structure? There is a question that. In fact, DNA be dismantled. Eat are made up of nucleic acids. If you eat chicken and you become a chicken head. That's terrible. Until now, people have never turned into food because they've eaten.